in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
Definitely not Superman, but I am your host, Chris Evans, and this is Talking Data and More, and I'm super excited for you all to join me on my very first video of the series. And as you could tell,
and I don't say this to everybody, you look marvelous.
Yes, the hair is marvelous, by the way, as I call it, my COVID-19 hair. But thank you all for taking the time and checking me out. Today, I wanted to share with you all something that I blogged about a few years ago that still resonates and provides tremendous value to a lot of my current prospects as well as current customers. And that is the road. And I'm not talking about the road that you take when you're in your drop top, winding in the hair on the I-95. No, I'm not talking about that road. I'm talking about the road that you're on to drive and deliver success on your business objectives, your business goals, your IT objectives, your IT initiatives and goals. What is the road that you're on to drive that success, right? And when I talk about road, I'm talking about an acronym. And shout out to Will Carney's. Will is an ex-colleague of mine that put me onto this acronym ROAD. And my understanding, this was something that was coined at MapR. But ROAD is an acronym that stands for Resources, Objectives, Architecture, and Data. Very simple. But these 4 points are so critical and important for us to all know now. And why so? As we all know, COVID-19 came out of nowhere and basically it hit us like a ton of bricks. It was like, bam! You know, we did not expect it. It was like in the movie Avengers when Ultron came out. Everybody initially thought Ultron was, you know, a hunk of metal, can't mess with us.
You're all killers.
And, you know, ultimately he was trying to take over the world. But what did the Avengers do? They still delivered. They still kicked ass, right? And that's what we need to do today. We still need to drive to success on those project initiatives that we are supporting or delivering, right? And how do we do that? We do that by understanding the road that we're on today. Very important. So when you're looking at this acronym ROAD, and again, I share this with many of my prospects and customers, I always say, let's start with what is your O?
Oh.
No, I'm not talking about that O. This is a PG-13 web series, okay? When I'm talking about what is the objectives? What is the objective that you are trying to accomplish? What is the objective that you are trying to succeed? This is a no-brainer. This is a duh. You all should know the objective, right? Most projects are not even funded without an objective, so this should be easy. But once you understand and you define your objective, make sure you're sharing it with everyone. Because the next important piece to the acronym ROAD is your resources. Resources. And why so? With COVID-19, I'm telling you, it's probably affected many companies and your company and your business. And your resources probably the most critical piece that has been affected by COVID. How so? Well, your budget probably has been either cut or you're reduced and you're working with a shoestring budget.
No more money.
Many of the partners, whether it's solution partners, technology partners, your SI partners, your strategy partners, have either been, again, reduced or even cut. And if you are one of the more unfortunate companies today where you had to let go of people, reduce the headcount, you are now working with a smaller workforce to still deliver and drive to success on those objectives. So it is so important that you document and understand what are the resources you have or will need to drive success with those objectives. And if you are more on the business side and you are working with partners and you had to tell them, I got to put a pause or I can't work with you now, I implore you, it's great now to just be honest with them and let them know, you know, when things will either pick up or when they can't. Because I promise you today, most partners will do what they can to support you so that when things do pick up, they're there for you. Because ultimately, a good partner will help drive those initiatives to success. I do it today, even with my current customers and prospects who said, Chris, things have to be put on hold because of COVID, I'm still sharing them with insights. I'm still trying to provide them anything I can to help them to drive to those initiatives, to the success. And that's what a good partner does. But, that's neither here nor there, but just be honest with those partners. Talk to them. I understand it's definitely tough. But now that you understand your objectives, you understand the resources that you need to work with to help drive the success of those objectives, the next is architecture and data. And I always say first, let's now look at the data. Let's make it simple. What is the data that you need to drive to those objectives, to drive the success of the objectives? That could be many things, right? Maybe you need to provide, a better customer insights to the marketing team. So you need customer data. Pretty simple. You just need customer data. Don't worry about where it's at. Just define, hey, you need customer data. Or you're looking to maybe move to the cloud, and maybe you want to start with non-PII data or non-sensitive data. So maybe you just start saying, all right, here's some non-sensitive data that we could work with, right? Document the data that you need to drive to that specific objective success, right? Now that you have a data, let's now pivot. Let's look at the architecture. Now I want you to look at the architecture in two different lenses. First lens, I want you to look at the architecture, current state. What do you have today? And how can the current state help meet your objective? How is it going to get you to success, right? And then next look at it is, what is the future architecture? What are the changes you need to alter or make to drive to that success, to meet those objectives? Very important, current and future, right? And looking at the resources that you have today, how is it going to help drive the future? That's going to be the most important one, right? And look at it as, if you're driving to specific objectives, can you do it in one big shot? Do you need to do it in phases, right? Because a lot of folks are now taking the time to saying, hey, because my resources have been affected, I can only deliver specific deliverables within my objectives by phases, right? And this is okay. And trust me, most businesses will understand, right? Especially now with COVID-19. But you need to be clear on what you're driving to. In any road that you take, there's going to be pit stops, right? There's going to be road bumps. But if you are clear on your road, if you're clear on your resources, objectives, architecture, and data, I promise it's going to drive to success on those project initiatives, on those business objectives. I promise you that. And it's so important now to understand these 4 points while we're dealing with these new changes, these new challenges. Because if everybody understands these 4 points, you'll be able to quickly deliver and drive to that finish line, to that success. Well, thank you all for taking the time and checking out my very first video on talking data and more on the road. I hope this provided you all with some insights. I hope you all can utilize and share this acronym ROAD with your customers, your prospects, or internally, right? You should be able to understand it. Well, thank you all for taking the time. This is Chris Evans. Hope to see you on my next video next Tuesday. Take care.